So recently, over the last 16 months, the real estate mortgage industry has been kind of crazy to work with, specifically with loan officers. And we really want to help give guidance to our clients on, understand what the role of the loan officer is, the role of the agent, and kind of help break things down from there. So we're going to kind of divert into working with loan officers in this kind of turbulent market. So I'll kind of give you some advice.
Role of the loan officer is to educate you on what your top budget is based on the Fannie and Freddie's credentials. Keep in mind that just because they say you can afford, or your max is 300,000, 200, 100, it does not matter. That is what you can afford, right? But so their job is to tell you, can you purchase this house, yes or no? And their job is also to tell you what would the monthly payment be in that. But overall, just kind of facilitate a transaction of purchasing a home in the background. So in a nutshell, overall, they do a lot more. But for you guys, loan officer's job, again, is to give you a pre-approval, and based on that pre-approval, then get you approved, and then based on that approval, get you to help you close on a house. Yep. In a nutshell.
Yep, I agree. A lot in simple terms, even more simple terms, is like the role of the loan officer is to get you the money, and the role of the real estate agent is to help you evaluate and acquire a house. And how do you acquire the house? You need to have the money. And so we try to be very proactive in our relationships with loan officers for who our clients are going to go with. So I think that's really important. So as you prepare to work with a loan officer, you don't work with them very much after you get pre-approved. You only start working with them after the signed contract, towards that. So a lot of times you'll work with us for anywhere from 4 to 12 weeks. You don't really talk to your loan officer other than email here and there. And so, but we want to set you up for success. So what are some general advice on working with a loan officer? What are some ideas you guys have, I guess, what's made a good working relationship with the loan officer? Maddie, since you just bought a house, what was kind of your quick experience?
Yeah, I think what was really important is the loan officer we went with kind of walked us through the steps of what he would need from us after the signed purchase agreement. But yeah, we don't talk to them very often as home buyers.
And a lot of it was, you didn't meet with your loan officer until closing, right? Everything was virtual.
Yeah.
So
yeah, like 2 phone calls and then mainly emails.
Yeah. So they created like an online portal for you to submit documents and things like that.
Yep.
Cool.
And it just checked it off every time we uploaded it.
Yeah. And you knew your loan officer on a personal level, but if you didn't know him, the first time you had met him in person would have been at closing. Yeah.
It's pretty common in today's market for you to either talk to a loan officer over the phone, or maybe a Zoom or Skype, or I don't even think Skype's a thing. Sorry, Microsoft Teams. Zoom or Microsoft Teams, and then see them at closing. I think for me, as an ex-loan officer and seeing what the team experiences as well, the biggest thing for me and for you guys to understand is that this loan officer has to be able to communicate. I would just do a really good job of, from demanding from loan officers to communicate with you guys, because reality, there's no dumb questions, so please ask them. And we encourage all of our clients to ask questions. If not, we ask them on your behalf as well, as long as you give us the permission to do so. Yep. That's the most important thing. Give us the permission to do so, but we do ask them so that all of your questions are answered. So I think for me, that's the most important key to an effective loan officer, not just the product, but also the communication piece.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think with like phone calls too, it's good because you get to hear the tone of voice and everything with that. But then to follow up with an email too, to just have that recording aspect of it. So
you made sure you heard what you heard.
Yeah.
Correctly.
Yeah, that's a really, really good point. And especially when you talk about finances, you want to make sure you understand what's going on. Yeah, I would just say like the first thing is get prepared. So develop a budget. When you know your budget, like we talked about earlier, is like if you know your budget, you know what you can afford. The second thing is meet with us. Because we're kind of like holistic thinkers. We think like through the whole transaction, we know things. And so we can kind of give you an idea and a standard of what people pay in light of your budget. So you're prepared to meet with your loan officer. I'm currently training for half marathon. So I Googled and found a training program so I know that I'm going to be able to finish the marathon. I don't want to just show up and then, cry my way through it and stop after a couple miles. Like, I want to complete that half marathon. So if you want to buy a house, have a plan and have markers in place. When you meet with us, we'll be able to give you an idea, hey, this is the path, this is the standard, so you kind of know that you're not crazy. There's a lot of value right now. There's like, dad support groups that I'm like, am I crazy right now? Am I crazy? It's like, no, this is normal to fatherhood. So the point is, like, get your budget, meet with us, and then meet with the loan officer. What the loan officer is going to need from you, they're going to need 2 years of most recent tax returns, all pages, business and personal. So if you have a small business, they're going to need 2 years of W-2s. They'll need 30 days worth of pay stubs, and then 2 months of bank statements, all pages. And so if you can create this, you don't need all that up front to get pre-approved, but if you have that, then that's great. And that's a really good thing. And I would say the next thing is, after you settle up on what the loan officer you think you're going to work with, create a communication line with your real estate agent, and then the spouse or whoever's the buying parties, and us, so that we can kind of know what's going on, what the communication is. We work with a lot of different loan officers. Not all loan officers are the same. And you want someone that really cares about you, really communicates, and has the best product and service for you. And we'll be able to help you through that process. The last thing you have to understand too is rates do not lock until you have a signed purchase agreement. So you don't have a locked rate. So with how turbulent the market is, before we look at houses, if you end up really liking a house, we always email the loan officer, say, hey, can you run a scenario in light of today's rate? So you have an idea if you can afford it or not. So that's our advice. I mean, there's a lot more we can fill in, but just remember, loan officer's job is to get you the money. Our job is to help you find and close on, or acquire the house under contract. So that's the simple terms. Then we want to be a team that really helps you through this process. Think of anything you've done for the first time, or just a handful of times. It's kind of scary, it's kind of weird, but you want people that really love and care about you, that help you through the process, and that's what we're dedicated to, is serving you and helping you through the whole process. Even though we're not loan officers, we want to help you have a good experience when you get a mortgage.
And that's what it's all about. It's about the experience. It's a big experience.
Yep, so. Absolutely. And and then throughout the process, like, if you feel like, am I crazy? Like, what's going on here? Just talk to us. Be like, no, you're not crazy. Or we'll be like, yeah, you might be kind of crazy. But we try to help you understand what the process is. So work with loan officers right now. A lot of it is online. And so if you don't really like that, you can always schedule phone calls with them, or you can always schedule times to meet with them. And so, and we will come with, like, Jordan and I were meeting with some clients next week, and we're going to have coffee and talk about it, and we're going to be with them because they'll probably buy this house, live there for 10 years, and then they'll do it again. But this is the first time they bought, so we want to help them have a good experience. So.